Welcome to our podcast. I'm Iris from the Hair Chapel in Brisbane. We know hair, we understand business, and we drink wine.
My name's Meg, owner of Era Hair in Brisbane also. We're here to have fun. We're here to laugh about the sad truth and reality of running business, running our chaotic lives and making it all work.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hello and welcome to another episode.
Hello, my friend.
I know. We've got a few under our belt now, so we're starting to get used to it. So what are we talking about today?
I think one of the topics that's come across a few times that we've teetered around is the value of a stylist. What is the value? How do we come to what our worth is?
Yeah, I think that is a very important point. And I think one of the problems that we have in our industry is that we are looked at as, oh, you are just a hairdresser. And just a hairdresser. And this is what my teachers used to call it. Do you know what I mean? Before I became a hairdresser, you don't want to be a hairdresser, or do you really want to be a hairdresser? And
or the person who hasn't got good grades and, hey, all right, well, I don't really see many options. Would you like to go do an apprenticeship?
Yeah. Do you want to go and do an apprenticeship in hairdressing because, you know, you haven't made it anywhere else? Let's become a hairdresser.
Yeah.
And I think so many people get entered into the industry like that, and therefore they don't come into it as passionate, but they come into it as like, oh yeah, it's
less than.
It's less than. And this is why we have such a big dropout rate. We have a 66% dropout rate for apprentices. Mm-hmm. That is huge. That is over 50%. Over half of the people that start their apprenticeship finish before their first 6 months.
I mean, why would you finish something? Like, why would you continue down a path that you feel less than in?
Yeah, exactly. If you're not going to be, if we're not going to start talking about it, that how good this profession is, if we're going to keep on saying to people, oh, just hairdressers, then we're not going to value ourselves. We're not going to attract the right people to come into the industry. And I do believe that the industry is changing in that front. People are talking about the hairdressing industry in general being a really, really, really good, respectable profession to be in for the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the reality as well that commonly gets overlooked is the investment in yourselves that salons put in you, that you put in yourself for your future, the knowledge that you have to acquire.
Absolutely.
The chemistry behind it, the fashions that change.
Absolutely.
There's so many different elements.
Yeah. And to point that out, it is very much the case when you have got a stylist that comes into it and they have never had good grades in school. I've had apprentices before go, well, it's not like it's science, is it? And I'm like, well, actually, whoa. So you're not going to last long in my salons because, you know, it is all science. And this is it. Oh, yeah, I'm not very good at maths. Well, if you don't know what a quarter, 3/4 and all that is, then you ain't going to... You're going to find it too difficult and you're going to go, oh my God, this is not what they sold me. Yeah. It was going to be easy. And look at me now. I have to work all these hard hours. They said it was going to be easy, but it's not. It's not easy.
It isn't easy.
It isn't easy. Yeah. And this is how I got into hairdressing, by the way. I got into hairdressing because I got dragged to hairdressing school. I kid you not. I was not going to be a hairdresser. I was going to go to the Navy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a bit different, right? So I wanted to go to the Navy, and I was a dancer before in my previous life, and then I wanted to go to the Navy, and that didn't. They didn't take on at the age that I was. I had to be older than that. So then my mom dragged me to hairdressing school, and she said, well, the least you can do is become a hairdresser. And that is where it stems from. Now, I got really lucky. I got into school, hairdressing school, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I really, really, really got lucky, and I love what I do. But for many people, that's not the case. For many people, they get dragged to hairdressing school because all options have been exhausted. Yeah. And therefore, it's like
go and
get a trade. And we should stop talking about that. We should stop talking about, a trade, because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people with a lot of university debt being
there's dumb people in big jobs everywhere.
Exactly right. But that, there's a lot of people with university degrees who are not working and doing the job because their parents said, "Oh, you need to go and get a university degree," and who wanted to be a hairdresser who weren't allowed to be a hairdresser. So they were passionate about something that they wanted to do, but the parents, they didn't want them to be a hairdresser because they didn't like the stigma that it came with it, that they had created, and therefore they didn't allow their child to go to become a hairdresser, and they wanted them to go to university. Now they're stuck with that. They have a university degree but can't be a hairdresser. They have to start from scratch.
Like, to be a stylist, you have to have passion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You're not going to be in it for long if you don't have it.
No.
And I think that wanting to be somewhere every day is a real draw card for me, wanting to be back into the industry is the passion of, and also being with people and blah, 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 blah. The list goes on of all of the wonderful things about it. But
I had somebody come in for an interview the other day, I kid you not, and she was a first-year apprentice and she had already left her last salon, and she came to me and she says, "I'm really sorry, but I can't look people in the eye, and I don't really good at talking to people." And I was like, okay, you need to create a relationship with your client.
Yeah, they're not going to come back.
They're not going to come back if they haven't got a relationship. And we offer silent appointments and all that sort of stuff. But you still need to look that person in the eye and have a consultation with them to make sure that they start to trust you. So if you're not going to be, you might be passionate about hair, you might want to do hair, but you also have to have a certain amount of personality that comes with that job to go, oh, I'm going to be able to speak to people, look them in the eye, and create greatness. And I'm sure there is hairdressers out there, definitely hairdressers out there that are not
struggling with that. Yeah. But also look at it from a client's perspective. So I'm going into a salon and I don't know if that person really is hearing me.
Yeah.
I don't know if that person really understands what I am after and what I'm getting out of this.
Yeah.
Like, if you can't look me in the eye or like generally in my face vicinity and explain to me that you hear me.
So that brings us to the client that comes in and then that wants to make sure that they feel good when they walk out. But if you have a stylist who you're not engaging with or you can't relate to, you ain't going to rebook, you ain't going to do that. And then again, about charging your worth. How are you going to charge your worth? Well, if you're not going to connect to that client, then the very successful stylists, the stylists who become very successful are the stylists who have personality. They have character, they build a rapport with their clients. The hair is almost secondary. You can have almost a lesser hairdresser, but a great personality, and they are fully booked. And you look at their work and you go, how is that even possible? But they are booked because of their personality, not necessarily their hair.
Their skills, yeah. I mean, I think look, there's so many elements of styling, right? And you're not just a stylist.
No, you're not.
That's the reality.
Yeah, you're not just
a therapist.
Yes, correct.
You probably also
you know their life better than
right.
Yeah. So you ask about this. They come to you and they spill the tea. About the divorce, about the kids, about all their problems,
and the people that they hate.
Yeah. And as much as you want to stay into a professional conversation, if you're only going to talk professional to your client, say you have to have your consultation down packed, you have to talk about that. But there is a grace period during your appointment where the client is going to offload to you and is going to talk about that. So if you're not going to do that professionally in a good way, then you're not going to be a successful stylist. Yeah. That doesn't mean that you can't be quiet. I have. Oh yeah. Yeah. Not at all.
And there's a different time for it. Like sometimes the client comes in and they're feeling a little bit. Spent. Yeah. That's exactly right. You can pick up the social cues and you can go, you know what, thank God.
Yeah, I'm not talking. Today I'll be quiet to you.
But as I say to my team, not everyone is going to like you.
No.
And that's okay.
No,
as long as you're a decent person, you treat everyone with kindness and respect, and you're honest to your brand.
Yeah.
And when I say your brand, you need to know who you are.
Who you are, yeah.
Right? And so as long as you're doing those kinds of things, not everyone is going to be for you.
No.
We're good.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly right.
But the people that love them love them.
Yes.
They love them for who they are. Do you want to run your salon with confidence?
Then you have to come to me. I run an 8-week program from booked out boss to fired up salon owner. Go to my website, saloncoachingbiz.com, and you can book a complimentary, no obligation consultation with myself for a business analysis. You're not talking about, the hairdresser. You're going to go, my hairdresser.
Yeah.
You always say, my hairdresser. Yeah. Oh my God, my hairdresser is so good. Your
stylist.
Yeah, my stylist. They own you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not that they have a relationship, and when you say, "Oh my God, I like your hair," well, my hairdresser.
Yeah.
So they own us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you don't build up that rapport, that person is not going to come. It's not going to come back to
that connection.
They're not going to have that connection. So that is what you need to create in order to for that client to come back and to book. My clients book a year in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got clients booked in January.
Yeah.
Simply,
and so they should.
Thank you. Because they want to make sure that they get in with me. Besides the fact that I think I do a decent haircut, but it's also about the rapport that I've built up with my clients. And then we've got other people that I've seen come and go that don't have that, and then it's difficult for them to build up a clientele. Yeah, so that's really the base of it. Now, the other thing is as well, you have to make sure that you train your stylist on that too.
Regularly.
Yeah. And this is why a lot of stylists can't charge their worth. We've got a beautiful girl in here and she's a bit poorly today. So if you hear coffees,
sorry,
it's because we're being mummy bears over here.
We are.
Yeah. So
we can multitask.
We can do it all.
It's that ADHD
So there she goes. No, not at all. So, and that makes us real again, like juggling it all. So you got to make sure that you train your staff. Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of the reasons why our apprentices leave the industry is because, first of all, they get chucked into it and then they do not get a good training in the hairdressing salon that they work at.
Right, they get brought to a certain level if they're lucky, because we've also seen we've seen fully qualifieds who are average at best.
Yes.
Like genuinely their cutting is off. Like their colour knowledge is less than. And we're looking at, and they want to be paid top dollar.
And this is it. They come in and they go, I'm qualified as senior hairdresser. And you ask them, can you do an undercut? And they're like, oh, no, I've never done that. And you go, how?
3 years
3
of
years of
training.
training. And this is it. We had one of our apprentices, she's a first-year apprentice, and she had the luxury to go and help behind the scenes on one of the events with GHD. Mm-hmm. And the other stylists couldn't believe she was only a first-year apprentice.
Yeah.
But that's because we are hardcore in our training.
Yeah.
We go hard on our training. And I think that is where the difference is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs to be a daily thing.
Absolutely.
That you're coaching and mentoring your juniors.
Yeah.
But also at a team level, we look to do training every 3 months. Like, that should be a minimum standard for everyone.
Yeah.
Because things change
so rapidly.
Yeah. But also, I think our last training was on the aura. So it doesn't always have to just be a technical skill. Sometimes it's something that you're pulling into the salon that's new and fabulous. And it's important for the people to understand the science why.
Why, absolutely.
What are you selling to your team? And that is the knowledge that then my team get paid for. And that's why people come pay to see them.
Yeah. Do you want to go and see to your lips?
Sorry about that.
That's all right. All good. So what we need to do is now bring it back to our team, make sure that we have, when they come in, we make them excited. We don't just hire them to be a cleaner, a cheap cleaner, because an apprentice, if you're going to let them clean, and we know many people who do, then it's just never going to happen. It's just never going to happen. And therefore, we need to make sure that we don't just give them the dirty jobs. We give them from day one, we make them believe that they're going to become somebody, that they're going to do something that is going to be worthwhile.
100%. I feel like the way that apprentices get treated at the moment, go buy yourself a cleaner.
Yeah, exactly right.
Have and tidy.
Exactly.
Don't waste their career.
No, exactly right. Don't waste their career. Make sure that you have somebody that you've trained in 3 years' time that doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
That you're so proud of, that you're going to give them a job. But why? You hear it so often that after 3 years, they say, oh, well, I've spent 3 years and they've gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what did you do?
You didn't own them.
Yeah, first of all, you don't own them. Very, very true. But what did you do to make them stay?
Yeah.
Why do you think they've gone? What reason have you given them to stay? Have you given them a future? Have you given them a future? And by the sounds of it, you didn't. So we can't create a salon that's sustainable. We can't create a salon and charge value if we don't get the people through who we're not going to educate, who are going to be absolutely reputable hairdressers in the industry.
What are you paying for?
What are you paying for? What you're paying for is somebody who's done a good education, who has a good understanding of hairdressing, who understands that if a person comes in with a picture, and we all know that people these days have an Instagram picture or something. An AI picture these days, and therefore we need to make sure that we can deliver. If you don't have those pictures, if you don't have the knowledge, giving your stylist the knowledge, they won't be able to deliver, and they ain't going to pay for it.
Yeah.
And this is where you choose your hairdresser, right? Or your salon.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for.
I feel like, all right, mind the feminist in me.
Yeah.
But I feel like if females weren't so heavily associated with the industry as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, very much so. I have clients who come in and they say, I just have a man do my hair. I just want a man do my hair. And I'm like, well, you've just said to me, I just want a man do my hair, but now you're sitting with me and you want me to do your hair. So I've already failed, not because I can't do your hair, but because did not align with your values. Yeah. So we're not talking about we're talking about that person who's got a male hairdresser, but that just is because that streaks their ego, right? Mm-hmm. That it's all about ego. So it's not about me not being able to cut their hair. It's about them only having a male hairdresser to do their hair.
So how do you price it in the salon, or in your salon, I should say?
All right. So we've got a lot of people saying that we need to put up the prices. Our prices need to go up. We need to charge. And there's a lot of coaches up there. Put your prices up, put your prices up. But that's all good and well if you have the knowledge, if you have the know-how, and you know how to do hairdressing very good and very well. But the problem is there's a lot of people who are not at that spectrum, who are not at that end, and who can't charge the prices that we need to charge in our industry. So the way it works for the moment is you need to choose where you're sitting. Right? So there's salons who charge $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for hair. I think that's great, but we're not all the high-end niche market. Yeah. It's just not how it goes. So we also need to make sure that we have that middle of the range, that salon for every person that they can go to, but still priced value, having your KPIs taken in consideration and know what you need to charge or get back per hour. And then that way, you know what your hourly rate needs to be and you need to charge accordingly.
I found something really interesting that you were doing as well in your salon, that you had tiered pricing.
That's correct. Well. Yeah. So as soon as you're an apprentice, you get taught, and we're going to teach you how to do certain basic skills first. So obviously it's our roots retouches. Our roots retouches get done first. And then if you have a roots retouch done with one of our emerging stylists, our apprentices, it's going to be a lot more affordable than when you do it with myself. When you want to have a retouch done with myself, and I'm happy doing a retouch, I have clients that are like, no, Iris wants my retouch, but I charge twice as much as what my apprentice does. So, and then we have our senior stylists who sit obviously a little bit below that as well. However, there is a lot of people who do not value themselves or who think hairdressing should be cheap. Yeah. And there's we've talked about home salons. We've got home salons who are very exclusive, who charge really luxurious prices. But if you're going to chase the dollar down, you're always going to lose.
Yes.
You're always going to lose. You're either going to be, what do they say? You can be one of three. You can't be cheap, good, and fast. No. It's just not, you have to choose where you're going to sit. And if you take that in consideration, you will price right. Know your hourly rate. First figure out what your hourly rate is that you have to have per stylist to bring in. And then you have to calculate that at about 80%. As much as we want to be fully booked 100%, it's just not.
It's not feasible.
It's not feasible.
And I mean, heaven forbid people have lunch breaks, people, run behind schedule. It's just not
feasible. So calculate what your hourly rate is per stylist that you have to do, and then make sure that you calculate that on 80%. That should be your price per hour. So that amount divided by 60 multiplied by how long the service takes you to do. Yeah. That's the formula. I will put that actually in a note as well.
Perfect.
So people can have that calculation. But that is really what it comes down to. Know your hourly rate, know your KPIs, divided by 60, because 60 minutes in an hour, and then calculate how long it takes you to do that service.
Yep.
And that should be your price per service. Yeah. Some people just charge an hourly rate, and that's good too. But there's a lot of people who do $20 haircuts in their front room. Please go.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, that's got nothing to do with me.
No.
That's got nothing to do with me.
Not our niche customer. It is not our space.
You can't have them all.
Yeah.
And this is it.
I had a lady in this morning, and so pricing, she's been a client since 2017, so before I bought the salon. Her pricing then was $25 for a wash and blow dry. Yeah, okay. And I remember you telling me about the clients that you weren't aligned with, right?
Yes.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I still need to pay my bills, and I'd like for my business to survive, and I still want to pay for my kids to go to soccer on the weekends, right? I wish you all the best. Since then, the price is $35, and so, but she's one of the difficult, like she's highly volatile.
Yep.
She left, unfortunately, she came back.
Yeah.
Wanted the same price, and we were dumb enough to kind of
accommodate
her. Okay, yeah, no problem. Off we go. That was my first mistake.
Yeah.
Now, but what we do now is we put her in with the apprentices. You want a $35 wash and blow dry?
Go with the apprentices.
Go with the apprentice.
Yeah, but
no
don't
problem.
abuse my stuff. It's not because you charge $35 for an apprentice blow dry that you can be rude, disrespectful to my stylist either.
Oh my gosh, that was another conversation.
Yeah.
It's been a long day today.
We talk about clients in a different episode,
Right.
but we still have to keep up with the value.
You have to, it's a sucker's game.
Yeah.
Following, trying to make yourself valuable to a client.
Do you know what else is the biggest problem a big problem that people have? They haven't got an ideal avatar. Oh, I do everybody. Everybody is my client. No, you don't. You don't.
Want to.
You don't want
to.
No, you have your ideal client in mind, and that can,
there.
if you've got different staff,
Cool.
it can be different. People have got their different avatar in their head of who their ideal client is.
Yeah.
My ideal client is short haircuts all day long.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So that is what I would love to do. I have staff that they don't even want to do short hairstyles. That's fine too. That's not their avatar. That's not their jam. That's fine. But you need to know first your stylist that you hire, what can they do? What can they perform? What can you charge them? Don't say, I need $120 an hour, and you hire somebody who can't even put a foil in. Yeah. So you're going to have to do a lot of training with that person. And if that person isn't coachable, you ain't going to be able to do that. So again, let's go back to, how do we value that? Well, again, a lot of people are saying, put your prices up. We need to value ourselves in the salon. We need to put, as an industry, we need to put our prices up. And I totally agree with that. I totally am on board with that. But not everybody is going to be able to do that. But also not everybody is going to be able to pay for that. We still have to have variation in the industry. However, if your turnover has to be, and I'm just putting a ballpark out, $100, $120 or $150, whatever it is, let's go with $120 an hour. If it takes you an hour to do a haircut, you need to charge $120 if that is your KPI for the hourly rate, right? However, if you only want to charge $40,
you better do it in 20 minutes.
You better do it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So are you going to give them a hot towel? Are you going to give them a long massage at the chair? No, you're not. Are you
You're
going
getting quick and dirty.
That's correct. Are you going to give them a glass of wine? No, you're not, because it's not going to be integrated in that price. You need to, but you still need to make $120 an hour. That is still going to be the same calculation, but you're going to have to divide again that total amount, that 60 minutes, and then you have to calculate it by, it's going to take me 20 minutes, so I can only have 20 minutes because I still have to make that $120 an hour.
So where does that leave us in the industry?
So basically, we have to have both. It's okay to have a supercut, but people who go to supercut to have everything is extra, to just have a cut. Or just cuts, if you want to have conditioner, it's extra. If you want hairspray, it's extra. And that's good too, They get their value, they get their haircut. They've gone in for a haircut, they have a haircut, right? But on the other hand, we also want to have the high-end hairdressers. You walk in, you have the image of Instagram, and the salon can deliver. Why? Because they've had the training, they've had training from the best, and we know that training isn't cheap. You know, we've had Edwards & Co. in our salon. Their training was not cheap, but oh my God, what we gained from that was absolutely sensational. So I am still today so happy that we invested in that. But you have to pass that on to your clients. You have to pass that on to your clients. Yeah. Your client doesn't come to you not expecting, it's expecting you to do the job with the image in hand. And the reason why we can do the image in hand is because the people who invented the looks, have come to us and taught us. Yeah. So we know firsthand what it entails. We haven't got to scroll through Instagram to learn the nitty-gritty techniques.
Yeah. No one's TikTok trained here. We had to pay a couple of grand to have the people
That's correct. Yeah. And if you're going to go to a salon who hasn't done training in 10 years, you will not know the difference between, and different people use different terminology, a root tap, a root stretch, a base and balayage. I'll tell you something that really happened to us. Yeah. And we had a hairdresser come into the salon, and she came in with her daughter because she wanted to have the same hair as my daughter. Mm-hmm. And she says, how much do you charge for a full head of foils? And I'm looking at the picture and I'm like, you don't need a full head of foils, because she's been doing full head of foils, trying to go as blonde as my daughter. I don't do a full head of foils on my daughter.
Is blonde.
Yeah. And I said, no, you need a tip out, and then probably a base and balayage, a face frame. And I said, then you need a bit of a root tap. And the mum was standing there, and she didn't have a clue what I was talking about. She said, I have no idea what she's talking about. And that's it. And that is it. That is fundamentally it. Yeah, that was a hairdresser who had been in this industry 10, 15, 20 years, maybe as long as I had, but hadn't upskilled. So she was still doing foils. Then when the Spice Girls came out with their stripes, that's how I started foiling. Yeah. But they're still doing foils a very similar way. Yeah. So that's what you pay for. So you come to me, and I said to the client, it taken me all day to achieve that look. So, and then we put an Instagram post on there saying that was $960, and people, that's ridiculous. Well, no, because it took me 8 hours to achieve that. So, or not, it doesn't matter, like 8 hours, 7 and something, 8 hours, a whole day. I didn't do any, a whole day. I didn't do any other clients. And it was my child, so,
whatever.
But
labor of love.
It was labor of love. And then she went to school and everybody wants to get there. And I was like, damn. Yeah. I'm in trouble now. So that's why we put the post out. And for people to understand, you want that look, you need to pay for it.
My time costs.
My time costs, yeah. And that's how we have to value ourselves. We have to make sure that we get those KPIs right. And it's okay charging $1,000 for an hour. If you can achieve that, if you think that you can achieve that, please go for it, yeah? Please do it. But you also need to know, that's not where you're sitting, if you don't have the demographic, if you don't have the salon, if you don't have the knowledge, you can't do that. So you can sit wherever you need to sit, but you still need to do the calculation exactly the same way. Yeah. You still have to know your hourly rate on what you need to turn over, and then you have to divide it by 60 and see how long you do in order to calculate that value of service towards your KPI. It's as simple as that. Yeah. That is the reality.
Yeah. I think the whole point of what we're trying to say is the effort, the time, the sacrifice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The education.
So much,
the effort, the passion, the relationships.
The stress.
The stress. Oh, dear God. I feel like that's mostly just running the business. But also people take it so people care about what your client walks out looking like.
That's exactly right.
Stress.
You're emotionally involved. With your client. You can tell me whatever you want. If your client walks out there and you think you've done a smashing job and that client goes out there and writes you a bad review, you can say whatever you want. You're going to take that to heart. Yeah. You're going to take that serious. Yeah. So you're going to take it personal, and you're going to have to figure out what it was that you did wrong. Did you do the hair wrong? Did you do miscommunication? There is going to be somewhere along the line you missed that client. Wrong. You can be so happy with the result, but it might not be about the result. It might be about the relationship that you created that was not up to par. Or she might have come home and her husband said, "Oh well, I hate it," and therefore, that's
she's
also
getting a divorce.
That's also a different episode. But we need to value ourselves more into the industry. We need to start talking about ourselves as hairdressers. That we are educated people. We are constantly evolving. We need to value ourselves so that we can attract the people into our salon, the apprentices, and value them so they become valued hairdressers in the future in the industry. Because passion only lasts you so long. If you are a passionate hairdresser coming into the industry and you have a boss that's going to knock you down and make you clean every day, your passion soon will go. Yeah. And that passion will be destroyed. And this is why we have 66% of apprentices leave the industry, and now we can't find staff because we don't treat our apprentices like they should be treated. And therefore, they're not qualifying on a high level. And therefore, we can't charge the money that we should be charging.
Yeah, the money isn't just the rent. It isn't just the power. No. It isn't just the product.
Yeah.
It's the person.
It's the person, and it's the education and what you invest in them. Yeah. I still don't own my apprentices. I do my utmost to invest so much in my apprentices because at the end of the day, if they get a better opportunity, I want them to go. Yeah. You know, if their opportunity, there is a world out there. They don't assign a contract with me that they have to stay with me for the rest of their life. You know, that's not how it goes. And it's their choice. And we need to make sure that we give them as much as we possibly can, the tools to set them free and
to be successful.
To be successful. That is our job. If we sign somebody on as an apprentice, it is our duty to make sure that we make them finish so they can be complete and utter independent stylists.
Yeah.
Confident in themselves and loving what they do.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ending.
I think it's a great ending. I think the passion, all of the factors that go into what makes someone successful as a stylist are just so...
Yeah. And this is it. Start believing in yourself. If you believe in yourself as a hairdresser and you educate yourself, that's when you can start charging your worth.
Yeah.
And that is reality.
And so you should.
And that's exactly right. Another episode finished. So the best thing you can do for us is comment below if you've got any issues that you want us to talk about. Make sure that you put them in the comments and definitely subscribe to us. And we see you in the next episode. Bye.